Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make frosted sheet cake. One of the reasons I came up with this recipe is, I don't know about you, but I got tired of going to the store for dessert and buying this really nice looking cake for, I don't know, 12, 15 bucks. That if you read the label was essentially, chemicals and air and, fat, and even if you, not that any of us would ever admit to eating half a cake, but if anyone ever did, right, you're just still not satisfied with it. So I figured I'd do a good old-fashioned homemade cake. And one of the reasons I'm doing a sheet cake is to show you that even if you've never baked before, if you have a cookie sheet, okay, and some parchment and the ingredients that I'm going to give you, yes, you can make cake. You can actually make cake in a cookie sheet, and I'm going to frost it with a chocolate buttercream that I'm going to be doing in a separate recipe. The eggs should always be at room temperature for making cakes, so I left these out for a while before, as I did the butter as well. Oh, and before I forget, here's the ingredients. Now, you'll need the mixing bowl from the stand mixer. Oh, and by the way, yes, if you don't have a stand mixer, sure, you can easily make this with a hand mixer. I'm using my stand just because it's faster, okay? And I actually have this cute little egg separator today for all those people that are concerned with me touching the eggs, even though they're not eating this cake. But anyways, let's keep going. Oh, and I should say something about the cake, eh? This is not going to be a good looking cake by any stretch of the imagination, alright? But that's okay, because it just shows that even though it doesn't look like much, it tastes really, really good. And I think I'll even weigh the little dickens after so you can see just how much cake you're getting. And a small piece of this does go a long way. And you feel really good after you eat it, and that's fine. So put the egg whites into the mixer bowl, and just put the egg yolks into a small bowl on the side for now. Once the eggs are separated, beat the egg whites first. And while the egg whites are beating, combine the flour with the baking powder and the salt. Just give that a stir with a spoon. Okay, so let's take a look at the egg whites here. No, they're just starting to form little frothy peaks. You do want this at hard peaks, so I'll turn it right up. Yes. So when the eggs are holding their shape like they would for a meringue, what you do is just scrape out the bowl and put these in another bowl. And keep these on the side for the time being as well. The egg whites are what's going to give lift to the cake as well as the baking powder. So I've got the egg whites in a spare bowl on the side here. You don't have to clean out the mixer bowl for making the rest of the cake first. That's fine, just keep going. Next thing to do is cream the butter and the sugar. So you notice here I've got the beater attachment. I swapped out the whipping for the beater. Do lock your mixer down. Start on low or else the butter will just jump right out of the bowl at you there. Okay, so soften that up a little bit. So I do add the sugar all at once. I don't find it really makes a difference doing it in portions. This will help to calm the butter down. When that's starting to get into smaller chunks, you can add the egg yolks. Just down the side is good. Add the vanilla extract. I am using my homemade, even though it's in a store bottle. I just stored in that. And if you haven't tried my vanilla extract, seriously, you're missing out. The taste is not even comparable to what you buy. So you can turn that up a bit. Next, add the milk. Again, start it on low. Now while that's chugging away, get your pan ready. So get a big clean baking sheet and just kind of overextend the parchment over the edge of the pan before you cut it. Just kind of feel around where the corners are. And what you want to do is just want to crimp each corner, because the batter is going to be very wet and you want it to stay in one place. If you don't have parchment, you want to butter and flour your cookie sheet. Well, you can try. I did try that once and it stuck so bad it wouldn't come out, so I think the parchment really is worth the effort. Once your pan is ready, get a big mixing bowl. Just turn that out in there quick. I guess I could have just used this, but I'm used to doing it the other way. Stop this for a minute. And scrape down the bowl. And give it a quick mix again before you put the flour in. Because you have to make sure that your oven is hot and your pan is prepared at this point. Because you're going to have to be pretty quick about it now, alright? So put your flour in. I usually put about half first. That's the flour with the salt and baking powder. Yeah, when you get that basically mixed in a bit, just pour the rest of it in the bowl. Stir it up real quick. If you've got a hand mixer, just put it on high for a little bit, not too long. You're looking at a very thick batter for the cake now. Just take off your beater blade. If you lose a bit, don't worry about it. Time is more important now, because you don't want to lose your leavening agents. Now you're going to fold this in, and you got to fold it pretty quick, alright? What you do is just take your batter, scrape it out over the egg whites. Now, fold this in just enough. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pick it up from the bottom and try to incorporate as much of the egg white as you can, as quickly as you can, without breaking it all up into tiny little bits. If you over mix it, that's looking pretty good right now. It won't rise as well. So I'm going to take this over to and just pour it out into the middle of the prepared cookie sheet. Now, if for whatever reason you end up overbeating the batter and you don't get as much lift, the cake will still taste great, it just won't rise as much, and it'll be a little thinner. Personally, after having eaten so many air cakes at the store, I do appreciate a dense cake for a change anyways. I just kind of think it's kind of insulting to pay that much money for, like, you know, air. And I think I will weigh this for you after so you can see what I mean. Okay, so get that nice and even as you can, as quick as you can. Pop that in your oven for 350 for 16 to 20 minutes. Again, this depends on your elevation and humidity, and we'll come back and take a look at it then. I'll set my clock for 16 and see what happens. So the alarm just went off. That's, oops, let it go back in focus here. It's probably the heat throwing it out, that's right. Okay, so yeah, that's at 16 minutes. I am going to leave it in for another 4 because it's looking risen nicely, but it doesn't look brown enough to me. So the alarm just went off. It's been 4 more minutes. Yeah, that's looking just good. I'll just take that out right now. So that's just done. As you can see, it's still white and there's just a few brown dots on it. And I will test it with a toothpick. So what you do is you just get a toothpick and put it in anywhere, and as long as it comes out clean, that it doesn't have any batter stuck to it, the cake is done. So back to the cake here. Buttercream's made in the back. I just lift that out there, loosen it up a little bit. I got a cooling rack. Just pop that on top and then turn both of it over quickly. Take the cookie sheet off and just gently peel back parchment paper. There's your sheet cake. Well, it's too bad you're not here because it does smell nice. It's still warm, which is good. Now, this is going to take some practice, and this is why I told you at the beginning it wasn't going to be a really pretty cake to look at. Because the fresh buttercream is still kind of cool. This is still warm. Now, if you wait till this is cold, the buttercream is just going to wreck the cake, okay? So you kind of have to guess in between. First thing I'm going to do is cut the cake, and I'm going to cut this in 4 so they stack pretty good. And I'll just eyeball it on the side here and cut this again. I'm going to frost this directly on a plate. I'm not going to play around with a cutting board. Now, if you have an offset spatula, by all means, feel free to use it to ice the cake. And if you're going, what is an offset spatula? Well, then just use a knife. Okay? So what you want to do is remember that you've got to ice all 4 and the sides. So don't put too much at once. Just get a glob and get your knife and drop it and just spread that out. Because the cake is still warm, it will spread, it'll start to spread fairly nice. And the nice part about this being a fairly sturdy cake is you may pick up a few crumbs, but you don't actually have to worry about it breaking. Okay? So once you've got your first one, yeah, think of it like buttering bread, okay? Just get another piece, put that on top, get some more icing. And as you can see already, this is not going to be one of those TV cakes, okay? I really don't care because I've tasted this and it's just amazing. And it just shows that substance is more important than appearance, eh? In cake as in life. So there's the last piece on. Move the cookie sheet out of the way. So if you've noticed, I use about half of the frosting for the layers and the top, and I'm reserving a little over half. This is where it's going to start to get slightly out of control here, because the cake has cooled off quite a bit, that the frosting is starting to stick. Now, if you want, you can just do it like this. I am going to continue up the sides. Instead of doing this in huge clumps, you may want to sort of act like a sculptor and just get a little bit. Generally, it's wisest to frost from the bottom, going up. And yes, as you can see, there are a few crumbs in it. Oh well. As my philosophy is this for this and the candy. If people complain about how it looks, just don't give them any. So there's the finished product. I did tell you I was going to weigh it. Yeah, so it comes in a little over 4.5 pounds. That's some serious cake there. It's not that pretty, but it sure tastes good. Now, one thing I must say, it's still a little warm. It's kind of shifting a bit, so I'm not going to be cutting it now. What you should do is pop this in the fridge without the scale. And after it's settled down there, just cover it with some plastic wrap. And, you know, you can eat this in really small pieces. It lasts for quite a long time. And I really hope you like it. Okay, so there's my frosted sheet cake. Thanks for watching. See you again.